Welcome everybody. Welcome to the March installment of the ComfyUI NYC event. Thank you for coming. Thank you. This is the largest monthly ComfyUI event in the world, actually. So thank you all for being a part of it, and we're super excited about this month's lineup. So we'll start off with a presentation by Michael Gold, on an agent harness he created for ComfyUI to create 3D characters. Then we'll have a sort of community shout out section. So if you're working on something cool, this is your chance to share it with everybody, and you can even plug in your screen, just let us know. And then we will cap things off with a first of its kind audio-visual presentation by Etheria, over to the side here. And they have a really cool interactive installation piece that they've created using video diffusion models, and we're really excited to show you that as well, and sort of make this into a more of a platform to share people's creations and art, as well as the technical and how-to discussions that you've come to know and love here. Before I get into the presentations, I'll hand it off to my co-host, Eric Tang, who will just tell you a little bit more about the context behind these events in ComfyUI. Let's introduce Eric.
Thank you, Shalom. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Eric. I'm one of the co-hosts of ComfyUI NYC. So before I get into ComfyUI, I just want to say you're at ZeroSpace, and Shalom is with ZeroSpace, and they're a sponsor of the event, and we have this beautiful space because of ZeroSpace. So I really want to give them a hand for supporting the community. They are a production house, and they do all kinds of client work, and they're one of the leading production houses in the East Coast. So if you are looking for someone to help you with your production stuff, video, either including AI or not, you should talk to Shalom. Okay. And they host a lot of these types of events here, whether it's ComfyUI or Unreal Engine or Touch Designer, right? Like really around creative technology in general, and I think it's a really great thing that they're doing for the New York community to bring everyone together. A little bit about ComfyUI. I want to first get a show of hands. Who is here for the first time at this event? Okay, cool. About like 20 to 30%. Another show of hands. Who has just started using ComfyUI in the last like 6 months-ish? Okay, cool. And who has been using it for at least like a year and a half? Okay, decent amount of people. Okay, so for those who have been using it for a long time, we just put up a talk sign-up form. So if you want to give a talk here, you should go to the sign-up form where you can find it at the Luma page. You can click on that link, put in your information, whatever you want to talk about. Right. Maybe you get inspired tonight and give you an idea. Just putting the idea in your head. Okay, so ComfyUI, for those who aren't familiar, is the leading tool for creative AI. I say it's the leading for professionals. Right. So I say the leading tool. It's not just the leading open source tool. It is open source, but it's also the leading tool in general for the professionals who are working with creative AI. And the reason is because it is open source, but it's open source, but also because it gives you the best controllability, right? So the creative process is all about control and all about generating the thing that you actually want to do. You generate with as much intentionality behind it, and ComfyUI is the best tool for that. ComfyUI is a little hard to learn at the beginning. It's got a bigger learning curve. But I would argue so is all the other professional creative tools, whether it's Unreal Engine or Photoshop or Adobe Premiere or whatnot. But the team has actually recently been making a lot of good improvements that makes it easier for beginners to get started with Comfy and have like a better learning journey along the way. ComfyUI NYC is a community that's not funded by Comfy. We're independent, so we want to be neutral. We want to give you what's good and what's bad, and for the community to come together and really to meet each other. And that is the goal for this event. We want to bring creative technologists and artists and people who are intellectually curious to come together and really share your knowledge, right? We're in an open source community. It's all about sharing. And you'll see a lot of that tonight with Michael sharing a lot of his open source work. Yeah, so with that being said, I wanna pass it over to Xiaolong, and maybe we can get the next kick started.
Thank you, Eric, for the context there and for shouting out ZeroSpace. Really appreciate it. So our first speaker is Michael Gold. Michael is an entrepreneur and investor working in physical AI. He is a managing partner at the venture fund DepthMap, and he is also a professor at the School of Visual Arts. Today he'll be presenting on a tool called Remesher, which is a command line tool and agent harness designed around 3D character creation workflows. So you'll be able to, from a prompt to a rigged character, describe what you want, and Remesher will be able to create it for you. Let's give a warm welcome to Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Thanks, Eric. So welcome everybody. Thanks to our sponsors for the awesome pizza. They had buffalo chicken pizza, which is my favorite. My whole family hates it. I love it, so I only get to eat that at New York Tech events because they will not let me order that. Okay, so this is the tool that I'm going to show you guys tonight. Put this website together literally 15 minutes ago using an agent. So it's got a little animated character in the background, and he's supposed to move faster the faster you scroll, and it looks a little janky. So I'm gonna mess with that a little bit more later. But by a show of hands, who here knows what a rigged character is? Has ever heard of a rigged character before? All right, so that's maybe 65% of you. So do you see how my little guy's flying around and he's moving his arms around? In order to do that and animate a character like that, you actually have to put a skeleton inside of him. And what that does is it essentially changes your 3D mesh from being one of those like gas station blow up dolls that just flails around to something that's controlled by actual bones and joints in animation. And then what you can do is you can map or retarget motion captured animations to these characters, or you can just drag around the ends of the arms and the ends of the legs to animate the character. So that's in a gist how animation works. So if you wanted to make a character for a video game, or for even just to pose for like a shot for a YouTube video, you would need it to be rigged. And this is something that is on the more technical side of 3D character creation. And even 3D artists don't really like this process because you have to do it every once in a while and it's a bit tedious. So this is a really good use case for AI. And in fact, we're going to be using AI through the whole workflow that I'm going to show you. And in fact, we're going to be doing it just over text message to our agent that's going to do it for us. And in fact, all the tools and the models that we use are free and open source. So you can run this, if you have a fast enough GPU, you can run this absolutely for free. And I'm going to show you how to get some free credit to run a GPU in the cloud also. So this is entirely free. You can run it on your own computers or in the cloud. And I have my students in SVA. We run it on the cloud. I'm going to show you it running on my computer back home. And before we get into it, first of all, does that sound cool to everybody? All right, cool. I'll tell you a little bit about me. So this is my website. It's mike.gold. If you want to see what I'm reading and writing about, I've got I wrote an AI script that takes all of my bookmarked tweets and writes like a research note about them. And this gets a little bit of traffic on the internet. So I'm keeping this going and seeing where that goes. I am a professor at School of Visual Arts. I teach a class there on innovating with generative AI, where we do a lot of Comfy pipeline works. SVA is an art school in Manhattan, and the department I teach at is the computer arts department. So we have a lot of students that go on to work at the best film and animation studios, game studios, and then a lot of students that go on to form their own. My background's in entrepreneurship, so I always love when the students go on and go out to work for themselves. And I think that the way the world is changing, there's a million opportunities to do that for yourself. The thing I tell my students is, there's with the boundaries that we're pushing with things like ComfyUI, there is a pretty good chance that you could be the first person on the internet to do something big for the first time, or to just do something small in a particular way for the first time. So what I'm going to show you tonight, I just combined like a few basic ideas, but I think I'm the first person that did this on the internet, and I think it's going to be a cool unlock for a lot of people. So I'll tell you, like, the other thing I do for my day job is I have this investing group and research group called DepthMap, which you can find out more about. We're looking at investing in open source projects that are related to robotics and physical AI, basically building out infrastructure for that. And I see what we're going to be doing tonight, making generative 3D animations, 3D models, as being the top of the funnel for making simulations which train the robots. So before I get into the whole presentation, who here uses AI, uses OpenAI, uses Claude? All right. Has anybody used AI in the command line, like Claude Code, like Codex, like OpenClaw? All right, so that's about a third of the people here. So what I'm going to show you today, we're going to be working. Oh, it's connected to my phone. Hang on, get a good signal. All right, so OpenClaw calls itself a personal AI assistant. It's got 336,000 stars on GitHub, which is the fastest growing project ever in history. Like, if you look at it, it just didn't exist till here, and now we're up here. This has never happened before. And what does OpenClaw actually do? It lets you connect to any AI model and then connect to your messaging app like Telegram or WhatsApp or iMessages and send requests to the model. And that might sound really simple, but it does some cool things behind the scenes, which I'm going to show you tonight. It can work with files on a computer for you, and it can send you images and text messages and GLB files. So GLB files are 3D animated files. So I wrote a program that runs on my computer at home, which OpenClaw is installed on, and talks to me through Telegram, my messaging app, and talks to ComfyUI. So what Eric said about ComfyUI being difficult to learn is very true. It's got a high learning curve. And the Comfy team is doing some cool things, which we can talk about after over beers, to make it more accessible for people. But you don't have to open comfy at all to do what I'm showing you tonight. You just have to copy my repo, clone it to your computer, and if you have OpenClaw or Claude Code set up, it will work. There's one more thing you have to do. You have to spin up a Docker container somewhere that's running Comfy, and I'll show you how to do that later. But we're gonna do some talking to AI to make a 3D model right now. And I'm gonna do it live. So I will, oops, let me close that. I have Telegram running right here, cool. So this is Telegram. I set up a bot called Agent Gold. I'm Michael Gold. I called it my agent, Agent Gold. So it is running this repo, which I'll show you. If you go to remesher.com and click View on GitHub, you can see it. And if you want to bookmark it and help me grow at a fraction of the pace of OpenClaw, give it a star. It's got 1 star from yours truly, and nobody else has even heard about it yet, because this is the first time I'm basically showing it to anyone. And so, what you can do is just clone this to your computer that's running OpenClaw. You can click download a zip, and then you tell your agent about the software. That's it. It will be able to run after you set up the Docker container, which I'll show you later. So what can it do? We can make a 3D character. So someone in the audience, I want you to give me an idea of a humanoid 3D character, something that stands up on 2 legs, a biped, and something with legs that aren't totally little stubby legs, like normal size legs, normal size arms, because the rigging and animation process will be, it gets a little bit messed up if the legs are tiny. So somebody come up with a character. Could be, yeah, I gotta see a hand. He-Man. Oh, cool. All right. Let's do some copyright infringement. All right. Can you make me a 3D rendered He-Man character? Just make the image. Don't make the model yet. Okay, so I have a full pipeline that it runs where it could take any text prompt and turn it directly into a rigged character. And then I also have it so it can just make the image first. And I want to have it make the image. I specifically didn't say put it in a T-pose because I want to see if I can edit, if it automatically does that, or if I need to edit it first. Now, I don't know if this is too small. Can you guys read all this? Yeah, okay. So it was typing. It made the character. So this looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like kind of an Unreal rendered He-Man, and he's got a beard. I asked it to put the last character in a beard. My 9-year-old told me that, you know, characters, superheroes look better without beards. He's giving me a hint, but I tell my kids I need this for networking. The character's not in a T-pose. So there's another model that the agent knows how to use behind the scenes to edit a model. And so I will ask it to put the character in a T-pose with its arms out straight and parallel to the floor. We need that because when we rig it, we want all the limbs to be separated from all the other limbs. Like, we don't want any clothing under here touching. We want the legs to be separated so that they're not touching. That way, when we go to move them, they're not attached. Otherwise, what you end up with is it kind of looks like you made something out of Play-Doh and the legs stuck together and you're trying to pull them apart. It doesn't look good. Okay, so can you put him in a T-pose where his arms are held out to the side at shoulder height, and his palms are facing down. Let's see if it gets this all correct. So I sent it a message, and usually when it receives the request, it will say typing. That's how you know it's working. This is just how OpenClaw works. It learned how to use the files in my repo, learned how to install them. It's running Python, and what the Python script is doing is talking to ComfyUI. Now, I know a lot of you raised your hands and said that they've been using ComfyUI for a long time, some people for just a few months. But what a lot of people don't know about ComfyUI is it's not just this web UI, this user interface that we can use as artists. It's actually a server that has all of these routes in the back end. So it will run this /WS, which is WebSockets, which will give real-time results of what's going on. It'll give you a status. It'll give you information about the current queue that's running in the back end, and you can also send requests in. So what my script is doing is it's sending particular workflows to ComfyUI. The workflows can be overridden based on the command line parameters, and this all runs on the command line, which OpenClaw knows how to do. It knows how to use a computer terminal and figure out how to use apps for the terminal, just text apps, old school text apps. So if you write a text application, OpenClaw will figure out how to do it. So now we've got our He-Man character. I think this is different enough for fair use, so don't sue us, right? This is just a He-Man. It's not He-Man. And we can try to rig this, make this a 3D model and rig it. And just talk to it in natural language. Okay, so it's typing, it's thinking, and you see this isn't taking super long. It takes like maybe 30 seconds to run each image generation, maybe about 2 minutes to run the GLB processing. This is running at home on my 5090 GPU, an NVIDIA GPU. You kind of need NVIDIA GPUs to run these models because they use CUDA, which is NVIDIA's custom programming language that is their moat, right? It locks people into building on NVIDIA hardware. So you can run this on any NVIDIA card. And I will show you the models, the open source models that I'm running. So the 3D content is generated by this model that came out in December called Trellis 2. Microsoft made this. Here's a little teaser video. It's the quality that you can make with this just from an image is pretty good. This is miles and miles above where we were a year ago. And there are some other model generation tools that are not open source. Rodin 3D is very good. Meshi is very good. Trippo is very good. Hunyan is very good. But to be able to do something for free on a high-powered GPU or even on the cloud, we can do this for a fraction of the price, which is awesome. As indie artists, who I'm sure a lot of you are, or tinkerers, doing things as efficiently as possible is very important. So that's still running. I'll show you some of the other things that we're using here. So to rig it, we're using this research paper called Make It Animatable. This was in CVPR. That's a big computer vision conference from 2025, so this is last year. And this uses Mixamo rigged specs for rigging the characters, and then does some retargeting through Auto Rigger Pro for Blender. So it runs Blender behind the scenes. So the whole thing is happening on the Docker container that's running. And I will explain to you what that is right now, because we still have some time. So the Docker container that's running is right here. So has everybody heard of Docker, or should I explain Docker? Okay, I see some head shaking. So what is Docker? So Docker is this way that you can ship the important parts of a computer all as software. So think of how you see shipping containers like on Hudson Yards, pulling in and out on ships. They all have the same exact specs, and nobody knows what's inside these shipping containers except the people who sent them and the people who are receiving them. The shipping companies know that all these containers can stack up on top of each other, and they can move them from place to place. So imagine you could do the same thing for computer programs with all of the dependencies that those computer programs need. That's what Docker lets you do. So I can pre-install a bunch of drivers that are necessary for doing all this 3D processing into a Docker container, and then ship that whole container to the cloud or to any of my computers that I have, and the software will just run, and I don't need to do hours of driver installation work. That's the beauty of it. So I can just say run this anywhere. So you, as an indie, if you wanted to make 100 models, you don't have to wait like 2 minutes a model times 100, 200 minutes, right? You could just spin up 100 containers and run that all and get all the files downloaded instantly, right? This is the power of using Docker containers. Because companies have spare GPU time on the web, you can get 100 containers from the same company, or 100 pods to spin up your containers, run the job, and then download the files. And it doesn't take you all day. It takes you 2 minutes. Okay, so if you don't want to install your own Docker container, because it takes some time to figure it out, you can just go to this repo, my Comfy 3D repo, and click deploy on RunPod. And what that will do is it will bring you to your RunPod account. If you don't have one already and you sign up and you put your credit card information in, they will give you like $5 of free credits. I think it's it's one of those raffle things, up to $300 of free credits. And then you'll be able to pick a RTX 6000 Pro computer, or Pro 6000, run it for $1.69 an hour, and turn it off when you're done, right? They bill you by the second. So RTX 6000, Zhulong knows, they run them here. This is a really, really, really beefy workstation computer. And costs you about like $20,000 to build one of these machines, but for an hour of time, it only costs you $1.69. So it's really a good way to get access to heavy-duty GPUs without thinking that you need to make a major investment before you start playing. So you spin up a container like that, and I'll show you the process. I'm going to spin one up. And I'll click Let me go back into my account. So I'm going to spin up an RTX Pro, and I'm going to change my template to Comfy 3D. And I'll spin up this container. And in just as simple as that, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to have this Docker container running in the cloud, and I'll be able to use it with my OpenClaw model. So I think my model is totally done, totally generated. Yep, here we go. It made it in 2 parts, a pretty big model. So let me download part 1 and part 2. Notice how it messages me the images. I see it in chat. It sends me the models right here. Let me take a look at it in Finder. And I don't know how am I supposed to unzip this? Unexample. Just asking how do I unzip with the CLI? Because if it basically is like, well, if it's 128 megabytes, it's too big. Okay, so let me just figure out how to unzip this. I might have it send it to me again. Do I? Is it just the extension? Because part 0, they're both zip, so it's zip zeros. I don't know. Let's see if it's right. Okay, cat, he-man. All right, so I think it's copying it all to, yeah, I see what it's doing. It's copying both of those files, and it's concatenating them. Into one file. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, so now let's see if we can get it. Nope. Unzip. He-man. End of, what? It's not a zip file. All right, let's see. So I said, just zip it into one file and send it to me. I think it got fancy with me. I also don't know where this ditto rechecked it. Come on. All right, let me, what is the file location? I think I know what it is. So I'm just going to download it from VS Code. So I like to use VS Code to connect to my remote machines. So I'm just going to connect to that particular machine that I am running my OpenClaw in. And here's my He-Man T-pose image and the He-Man model. Here's the rigged one. It's 146 megs. If I had it re-rig it to a smaller number of vertices, then it would have been able to fit in Telegram. But I didn't want to wait another 2 minutes, so I'm just downloading it right now from the machine. So if this happens to you, you can just ask to rig it in a smaller file. You don't have to deal with zipping things up. But we'll download this file and we'll check things out. And I just want to show you one more thing. Right here in this config.json, it's pointing to this server, which is my local server, but now I should have this ComfyUI server spun up, the one that I loaded on RunPod, and I can go to this URL. This is ComfyUI running in the cloud on an RTX Pro 6000, and I can just paste this in here and save it in my server URL. And now it's going to use ComfyUI running in the cloud. That's all you have to do. And this is just the directory that I downloaded off of GitHub. So, let's see if that file downloaded. It did. And now, we can preview it, check it out. And we can also check it out in Blender. Let's grab it. Bring it into Blender. Oh, lost it. And one of the things I like to say is click this box to disable the bone shape. Oh, bad GLB, file size doesn't match. Did it finish downloading already? Let's see. No, it might still be downloading. Still downloading. All right, so we're going a little slow because we're tethered to my phone. So as soon as that's done downloading, we'll be able to bring it in. I'll show you some other ones that I made today. So this one, I made today. This is like the original one that it made just from the example, and I let it pick what it wanted. So this is the unrigged version of that character, just as a GLB. And you can see that Trellis does a pretty good job of going from a single image to an actual character. And we can get it to make all types of 3D pieces for us as well. So if I say to it, make a shield for He-Man, and generate it as a GLB, it can go and it'll do that as a full end-to-end process and give us the GLB file. I think that I think the file gets bigger when I rig it, so this one should be quite a bit smaller. And let's see if this thing is, it still says it's downloading. I'm hoping that the files come through fast enough here. It'd be cool to show you guys some rig stuff. That didn't work. Let me see what else I can do here. So it's making the shield, and if it downloads in the next few seconds, then I'll be able to show you the rigged model. But otherwise, I will have it say, send us the non-rigged He-Man file so we can see it in 3D, and it'll process this next. So the one thing that I will have it do, I'm going to ask it to make it, when it's done, another character, and have it do it with a lower resolution. Okay, so here's the He-Man shield. Now this actually used the cloud server. That downloaded really fast, so I don't know why VS Code isn't working. And so here's the shield for He-Man. Not bad. And let's see if it can send us the non-rigged He-Man file. Couldn't send the raw JLB. All right, so that's the zipped one. And let me see if this thing will zip the actual He-Man file. Just so I can show you what a rigged file looks like. All right, so this is He-Man unrigged. There he is. Not bad. They gave him some fur in the back. So it's estimating and guessing what the character will look like from behind. And I think it did a pretty good job with the hair and with figuring it out. It just tried, oh, come on. Let's see if I can reason with it. Because it was telling me 128 megabytes is the limit. Even though it's 64, I can't force it. All right, maybe it's a Telegram. Maybe it's a Telegram limit. Oh, looks like our file downloaded. Okay, so let me show you this in Blender. So we'll just drag that guy in. And again, make sure bone shape's disabled. We'll click import. And we should be able to move the joints around. So I will see if there is a way to, this is a little bug we have. Sometimes the characters come in transparent. I already fixed this, I just haven't pushed the change yet. Just gotta disconnect this alpha and shading. And there you go, there's He-Man. And we see that we have these bones in Blender. So I can just switch into pose mode, and now I'm able to move his arms, right? And we can put him into a specific pose. And you notice that even the hands are rigged. So I can move the palm, I can move the thumb, the index finger. You know, you can do all types of manipulation, fine-tune manipulation for the character now, just by rotating the joints. And you can map in all types of mocapped data into this. So that's a rigged character with really like zero effort aside from setting up your AI model. And hopefully this is something that everybody watching the replay can do. I mean, I just spun up the server. This actually ran on this server right here. All you have to do is copy these files to your computer that's running OpenClaw. And what it does is it's really just running this program in the background. So if you look at the README for this, it says UV run comfy prompt CLI. And so if I do that, it'll say missing command. If I type in -- help, it'll tell me all the commands that it can do. It can do text to image, it can do image to text, it can do image to GLB, it can do a rig. So this is what OpenClaw does. It runs the help, it reads the README, and it says, oh, I know how to type in these commands into the terminal. I can figure it out, and I can make these things. And it knows when the file runs correctly and when it doesn't run. So you can do this yourself. You can run the commands yourself, or you can have your agent do it. And this will work the same. This will work with Claude Code. It'll work with GitHub Codex. It'll work with Gemini CLI. Any agent that you're running in your command line, you can use with this, and you can make your own 3D models without ever opening up ComfyUI. And if you have a GPU, it's totally free. If you run a GPU in the cloud, it's pretty cheap. So thank you, everyone. Hope this is useful. And did I go over on time? Do we have more time for a Q&A?
We might try to do like 2 questions.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the front.
How does your, what's the tokenization look like on the OpenClaw side? Running all these prompts.
So it's pretty low because it doesn't really depend on a lot of past things in the conversation. It's like literally just running a command. So I use Codex, and I just log in through OAuth, so I'm not paying anything per token. If you have a OpenAI Pro account, or even the like $20, $100, $200 a month account, you get a token reset every few days, and like every 5 days. I haven't hit my token limits ever. And I encourage people to do that instead of paying per token. Yes?
Hello. I was just curious, so you started with this 2D image, and then you generated a skeleton, made it 3-dimensional, and then the hindsight of the character was inferred. So like,
Close, close. So you start with a 2D image, and what I do is I tell it to make the 2D image look like a 3D model, and then I run it through Trellis, and Trellis makes it into an actual 3D model. And then once you have the mesh, the whole hindsight of the mesh is inferred. Then you make the rig for it. So the order is make the image, then make the 3D model from the image, and then rig the mesh.
So the remesher was you like orchestrating these steps?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hi. First of all, great talk. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
My question was basically going off of what he was saying. So you said that the hind part was inferred. Are you able to pass your own images of the other sides, and
Yeah.
instead of inferring it, it'll do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a workflow in my Docker container for single, they call it single view or multi-view. So there's a workflow in my Docker container for Comfy, and my students, some of who are here, my colleagues from SVA, some of who are here, they can tell you about it. I think Rochelle and Kelly, why don't you guys stand up so people see you, or put your hands up. So they know all about it. They know all about how to do it. But you can even generate a turntable view of your character, and I have a workflow for that, and then pass that into the multi-view. It just takes more time. The quality is higher, but it takes more time, so that's why I didn't want to demo it today.
Thank you so much. I actually have one more request. I have an OpenClaw event coming up soon. It would be great if you can talk on it.
Yeah,
We can-
awesome. Send me the details.
Yeah, I'll talk.
What's it called?
afterwards.
What's the event called?
It's on Luma. It's a long name, and I don't really remember it. I had OpenClaw make the name, so I'll come talk to you about it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks for doing this talk. It was actually perfect. I was looking for something to replace Ready Player Me. This seems great. Can I alter the PBR materials if I need to? So if I want to alter the normal map
Yeah.
or any
yeah.
other like mapping
Yep.
of the character, is that possible within Remesher?
So the everything's UV mapped. The UVs are a little bit gnarly. You know, it's really a good idea because I know there's a bunch of PBR tools. I'm just thinking, I think NVIDIA released one. So what he's asking is, if we have a 3D model that we really like, can we just use the image models to change the texture without changing the geometry of the model? So I think that would be a good feature for me to add. I'd have to bring in another model for it, but that's definitely something that's on my roadmap.
Yeah, very cool. And just second question, can we make it low poly, or like if we need to, like lower the vertices, lower the polygon count? I imagine that's just a part of the prompt.
Yeah, that's already in. It's a parameter for the model generation, so that it defaults to like 3 million verts, and then I think in mine I was asking it for 80,000 or so. Actually, I did, but then I think I overwrote that somewhere. Which is why the file sizes were so big. Okay. So yeah, you can do that. It does like a it does like a quad remesh. That's like it's okay. It's so-so, but it's pretty. It's passable for automation. So like, if you were gonna do it for yourself, I would say that remeshing in your design tool of choice is probably going to give you better results. But for automated quad remeshing, it's pretty good.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up?
This is maybe like
Yeah, I gotta turn it off. I always leave them on too long. Thank you. So the thing about running pods is you pay by the second. So since I'm done, I'm gonna shut that off. Yeah, you know, save me 50 cents. Yeah, next, but are there any more questions?
Yeah, I have one in the back. Okay, I'll use the mic. Great. This is so the rig is cool. Are there any thoughts to adding like a step to add controls? Like it's He-Man. Is there like a toggle for him to hold the sword, make a fist, or do I have to? Is it right now? You're just moving all the fingers.
Yeah, good question. So I've written code already for retargeting Mixamo animations to the rig. So if you have an existing mocapped animation that's in Mixamo format, or you're just you have a library of Mixamo animations, you could retarget those. Now, I'll tell you, and I guess I should have started with this. Like my 11-year-old, he really wants to make his own game. So I said, like, well, why don't we do it together, and will you use AI to make all the pieces for it? So this is something that can make all the pieces for a game, and then you can retarget all of the animations from free animation libraries like Mixamo to the characters, and you could even, if you wanted to keep a pod running, you could have people do that in real time. So that code has already been written. It works. I just haven't integrated it into this repo yet.
I guess my question was something like more simple, not just like full on animation. Just instead of having to grab parts of his face to move his face,
Yeah.
like just a control rig to the side.
Oh, can you add a control rig like in Blender? Yeah.
Think about adding that, like make him blink, open them out.
Yeah, so the thing about adding control rigs, I think AutoRig Pro can do that. From a rig GLB, I think you can take a Mixamo rig and turn it into a control rig. I already have Blender integrated in it, so like I'm able to send command. I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm able to send commands to Blender from the command line. So in theory, I could add CLI prompts to move a control rig. Yeah. So like, I guess yeah, I got to think about which poses I would put in there from the command line. It's an interesting idea. I like the idea. Thanks.
Yes, let's thank Michael for the excellent presentation.
Thank you.
If you have more questions, he'll be around.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see a talk that doesn't just cover the workflow, but also the infrastructure around the workflow and the tools to make it easy to use and agentic. We're going to do the community section right now. So while we wait for James and Gonzalo to set up, we're going to have some time. If you have a project you want to share with the community, we just heard from someone doing an OpenClaw event, which is great. So if there's anything you're working on, or if you're looking for collaborators, feel free to just come up and have this be like a public forum. So I'll just stand here and see if anyone would like to chat. Yeah, and you can come up to the front and
Hi guys, it's for everybody. I'm just looking for the name of the event that I forgot, even though I made it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's a Vibe Event Planning. So it's called OpenClaw for Life and Business, AI Agents and Growth Ops. I'm trying to make it like a more educational event. I've been to a couple of OpenClaw events and they're just like at a bar and people are just drinking and just saying, yeah man, OpenClaw is awesome. But like that doesn't show anybody how to use it or anything. And so that's why I asked Mike if he could present, because it would be a really good asset. I'm planning on presenting and showing how to set up OpenClaw. I have 2 other speakers as well. So again, it's called, again, I forgot. I'm bad with names, doesn't matter whether it's a person or event. OpenClaw for Life and Business, AI Agents and Growth Ops.
When is it and where?
So I haven't found a venue yet, but I have it planned for April 8th. Well, I had a venue and they backed out. So I'm open for if anybody knows any venue that would offer it. It's a free event. I'm not trying to make money off of it. It's just to spread the word. But yeah, you can sign up, and whenever I get a new venue or if the date changes or anything, then you'll get the updates. You're testing me. Yeah, OpenClaw for Life and Business, AI Agents and Growth Ops.
We can send out the link in like a follow-up message that gets blasted to anyone who signed up.
Okay, yeah, I'll share the link with you. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hi, my name is Desmond. I'm a motion designer. I just want to come up and tell you guys we have, me and my partner, Palm, seated over there, have some 3D prints of the ComfyUI keychains, and we're here to give them out to the community. Yeah. So we made this. I say we, but she actually did all the work. she did it in one night. And yeah, so come find me or Palm later to get one of these keychains, all right?
Thank you. Yeah, we can go connect. Did you want to connect to laptop or just speak?
I want to talk about like a prompt that I built out. I'm going to share with the community here.
Okay.
I also developed 2 custom ComfyUI nodes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, we'll see if this works.
Yeah, right. This is not a big deal. Come on. It's a big deal. That's not good. When does it pop up? Oh, so it's not, is this disconnected? Do I have to switch?
Let me just chat with you.
Let me just save the project. Otherwise, I have to do the whole setup again.
I should have coordinated with you before our
Yeah, no. All right, go for it. Crashed it.
Yeah, let's see. It just showed that is it decimator?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to do some quick shameless self-promotion. I make YouTube videos, and this week somebody actually paid me to make a YouTube video for them, and nobody's ever paid me to make a fucking YouTube video before. So I'm kind of stoked. Thank you. Thank you. But the best thank you would be if you went to OpenArt's YouTube page and watched my video on Nano Banana and gave it likes. I don't even care if you watch it, just play it in the background. I'll take the views, you know what I'm saying? So thanks for the applause, and I don't know who to hand this microphone to.
I'm going to fill the gap while we figure out what the tech issue is, but it's not a big deal. I was kind of curious if I could ask you guys some questions tonight. Is that okay? I saw that there were a lot fewer new people tonight. That means there's probably some people who know me or have seen me or we've met, which is great. And I actually want to do a really quick shout out to the people who've been doing this for over a year, close to a year and a half now, this meetup, because I really think it's great that we have this community forum to talk. And one of the things they've been letting me do is talk about my journey launching this, this project. And my story, I'll do this quick. I won't tell you the same story over and over. But I was a creator all my life. And then AI came along, and some people were freaking out, and some people were embracing it. And I chose to go towards the embracing side. But I also found that going through that COVID situation, it really helped me like heal some of those hurts. And I really kind of became way pro AI. So instead of always looking at it like it's a problem and I'm scared of it, I kind of embraced like, well, what do I do with it? What can I do with it? And one of the things I chose to do was to create art and to create, eventually, films. We lost my window real quick. Just let me figure that out. I think we may have closed something. Oh no. Sorry, guys. Don't look at how many windows I have open like all the others. That's not it. Nope. I am so sorry. We're just having like left and right. So in the middle of COVID, jeez, can we just turn this off for 1 second? I will figure this out in a moment because it's just not happening. This is so distracting, right? Because there's all these windows and we don't want that. Thanks. So let me tell this story real quick. So I wanted to ask some questions tonight, because if anybody is in here like me, then maybe like you were a creator and you decided AI was like the brand new best thing. Anybody? Raise his hand. Not bad, okay. And then there's some people who were like, oh, this is kind of sucky, like what's gonna happen now? And then you started hearing like, some people are doing some cool stuff, like maybe you should think about it twice. Anybody? And some, oh, see, a little bit of a lag time. And then there's the people who are like, I don't know why I'm here, but somebody said I really need to be here. Yeah, there's a few of those. And I thought, like, I'm trying to struggle and be like a creator who's using AI, and like we take this into the next like era and all that. And I started making films. And one of the things you do with films is you put them up for consideration in festivals and stuff. Oh my God. So you do that, and you hope and you pray. But the problem was like, where were all these film festivals that people were actually looking at AI as a possibility, and like, where are all the people talking about this, and where are all the people you can learn from, and all that stuff? It became such a big deal. And it was kind of consuming me, and I was like in all these Discords and all these WhatsApps and all these things, and it became like this overwhelm again, and I couldn't take it. I was like, no, I need a system, I need an organization. And that's how my project was born. I wanted something that was like, I get to choose. I get to curate my experience with AI as a creative. And I thought there might be some people like that, like you guys. And so I'm really happy to say I finally have something to kind of show you guys. Like, I want to talk a little bit about it, and I wanted to ask you maybe if this is going to solve some of the problems that I think we're all facing. And so today I'm going to actually pull it up, if I can actually find it, because we lost my window somehow. Give me 1 second to see if this is it. And we can mirror now. Great. So I wanted to ask anybody in here if maybe you've ever, do you mind like running this part over here while I? Just switch back to the window that you had. You don't need to touch the display. Okay. Very good. I just lost where I got it from though. That was the problem. Yep, back to my browser, back to the, where did it go though? I do have a few windows, just a few. Okay, so I'm proud to announce it is called Prompting Prose. I've been holding that for a while because I didn't want a ton of traffic and everybody being like, there's nothing here and I don't get it and all that. But today you can actually go to promptingprose.com, and instead of meeting me and making me put your name in on my phone like I've been doing for a long time, because I do have quite a bit of people who are interested. I would like you to actually go there, and if you're interested in what it says on that page, then you can join the wait list. So you'll be officially ready in the next week or so as I open this up to people. But one of the things I've also been asking is, can you help me figure out the bugs, the problems, and the things that you would like to see, or the stuff you love, so we can do more of it? And basically, I wanted to tell you real quick, and I know I'm taking up a long time, a little bit about it. Because one of the things that I wanted to do was those events, right? But the other things I want to do is like, how do you get clients? How do you maybe even get a full-time role? Because I know some people who are balling right now, doing cool stuff. And I think those are all important. I think one of the other things that is important, there's probably people in the room I didn't poll here, but is anybody even trying to look at like, where do you find talent? But not just any talent, like talent who's really good with AI, people who come up here and speak at the front of the room and can show you that they're really good at it. But see, they get like this platform. How do you find others like them? Anybody trying to find people, because I do know quite a few people, and some of them do show up at this meetup. But outside of this room, how do you do that? So I'm going to have that opportunity for people to find you. So it's actually not only a hub where all that information sits, but also a professional network, which you can upgrade to when you start feeling confident enough to come in and actually play with the people who are spending money on this. And so I would like to have you join the wait list if you're interested in either side of that. But the good news is, you actually get to start for free. Like, I'm not charging you anything to get all that cool information served to you. Like the events and the opportunities like grants and collaborations, et cetera. And I'm almost done, I swear. And that's it. Like, I would love to hear from you, see you, talk to you, have you on my list, and I'll be here afterwards. And if you don't know and you didn't listen before, we all go to have drinks and chat and get to know each other, and it's always really worth going. So I hope you guys will do that. And thank you again for letting me have this moment. I do truly appreciate it. And this is kind of a seminal moment. You guys don't even know, like, this is the first time I've been able to show anything outwardly about what I'm doing. I've only been talking about it, so yay. Thanks.
Thank you, Eris. We have one more community presenter, and then we will hand it off to Etheria. Will you need internet?
Yeah. Okay. I need to showcase I'm going to showcase it, so. Want to help film this or something? Want to film? Sure. Yeah, it's sweet. All right, guys. My name is Ariel, and basically what I do is I run a marketing agency, and recently when I got into using AI, AI has really helped me a lot with mass production of creatives and for like running ads on Meta ads, Google ads, and it made my life super fast. So the first thing I want to talk about is this one. So the last ComfyUI talk, I actually met up with this guy who is from Bria AI, and they're like one of the sponsors for like the last month. And this is the one they talked about. This is called Feeble Edit. The main thing, what I really like about Feeble Edit, is that they have what's called VGL, and what VGL does is that it takes an image and it converts it into a very detailed JSON prompt. I hope this thing is loading up, because I want to showcase how it actually works. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. So and then, so what I kind of built out is I actually kind of built out my own system prompt based on it. So I created two versions of it. So the one that I kind of built out is called the VGL condensed JSON generator,
And this is a kind of a prompt where basically you can take this system prompt and you can put it into your Claude projects or any LLM that you're using. You just paste this into your projects as in your instructions, and what it's going to do, all you got to do is just drag and drop your image, and it's going to convert the whole thing into a JSON JSON output. So you can see here, you are a VGL, a Visual Gen AI language extraction expert, trained based on this feeble edit structure prompt. Your job is to create a character template and provide a compact but complete VGL JSON that can faithfully generate the character as a single photorealistic reference frame. And what it's going to do is going to convert any template that you provide, and it's going to output everything, such as the scene description, style, artistic, canvas, object, and this goes for like any image you want, anything from like a real human to like a graphic design. So I kind of like already built one over here. Let's see the internet's working. All right, cool. So here's the one that I built out. This is the condensed version here. And I did one for, let's see, I think this one's for auto insurance. So it's gonna create this condensed version of the prompt, and if I go to the editor here, I'm gonna show you like visually what it's extracting from. Come on. Cool, I got it. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in the JSON prompt here. And this is the whole description of what the prompt does. So you have like the whole scene description here. So I have something, I believe this is like an Italian woman in a driver's seat. And then it's going to render every single detail about it. So it's going to like go into details about the canvas, color palette, all the color palettes that are in here, the layer background, the 4-layer background. So that's the whole prompt. And now let's go ahead and let's put this into Higgs field. So the best image generator that works really well for this is Nano Banana. So you can use either Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2 for this. The one thing I actually learned, I actually was at a marketing conference last week, and one of the guys, Rory Finn, he's like Rory Finn, he runs a company called Systematic AI. I learned that Nano Banana is actually not just generate image, but also searches the web based on what you prompted. So if you type in, let's say, Michael Jordan, it's actually going to prompt in, it's actually going to search for the internet for the same and similar images and pull back that person. So let's go ahead and let's prompt this in. I got one of my video editors, I just blew up my credits, but I still got lucky on this one. So let me see what that looks like. Let's see, I'm going to generate a 16:9 and then a 9:16. And this thing should be processing soon. I'm also going to show you, showcase another one here. Let me see if I can generate a VGL version here. Let's see, this thing loads up. Ooh, JSON, ooh, image. There it is, image to JSON. That's the one I'm looking for. All right, let me take this one here. So here's one of the example images that I uploaded. So I uploaded this exact image, paste it in here, and it's going to convert that one image into this JSON prompt here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one, and I'm also going to create a 1x1 style here. And I'm going to do like a 1x1, and let me go ahead and generate that. Ah, shoot, it's too big. It's too big. All right, this one should work. Yeah. Sure. All right. Okay, this one should pop up. So, okay, so the other one that I built out, the JSON prompt, this is what the reference looks like. So this is actually one of the references. So I generated twice. This one is in Nano Banana. That's Nano Banana Pro, so it's very photorealistic because I also provide not just the positive prompts, but also the negative prompts within it. And then over here, these are actually Dream 1.5. So this is Dream 1.5, Dream 1.5, and I double prompted again. So this is what it looks like with Nano Banana Pro. And this is also another one that what looks like on a 9x16 Nano Banana. So it's very useful if you want to use this prompt. Is there a way for me to share the prompt with the whole community? Yeah. Got it. I'll upload it on my GitHub. I'll put it on a GitHub repository, and then I'll share it to you. All right, but that's it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel. All right, we'll give a minute or two for them to do the handover for the AV side. Yeah. While they're getting set up, I might just plug another event that we're doing at ZeroSpace this week. So we have a Touch Designer monthly event hosted by Dat Lab, which is the Digital Art and Technology Lab. If you know anyone in the, if there's anyone here in the Touch Designer community, it's hosted by Torin Blankensmith and Lyle Hintz. They're really prominent open source contributors to Touch Designer. They create a lot of tools and tutorials. And that is happening Friday evening here at ZeroSpace. And it's a lot of fun. We have presentations, we have live performances, and would invite you all to come for that. This Friday, it's called the Dat Lab NYC event, but you can also find it on our ZeroSpace calendar, which is at luma.com/ZeroSpace. luma.com/ZeroSpace. Ethereum gang, how are we looking?
All right, well, he's pulling that up. I'm James, and this is Gonzo, and we're from Etheria. And the motto of Etheria is create as you speak. And it's a speech to visuals engine that has become a whole lot more. And so we're going to talk today about how we'll both introduce ourselves a little bit, how we met, and how we have now started to build a live generative stage that responds to the people that are on it using Frontier AI. So very, very, very excited to be here. And we're having a little bit of trouble with the screen, but we'll get there. So while we wait for Gonzo, my name is James Barnes. I'm an artist, an entrepreneur, an engineer. I worked at Meta for 6 years, and after that started a company that was an AI biographer that could interview you about your life and tell your life story. In the process of building that biographer, wanted something that could visualize the stories that people were telling the biographer a little bit more interestingly. And so I started to think about real-time AI and what could listen to you and make visuals as you were talking. And it turned out a couple years ago, not that many things. But we've been really fortunate to be in this community and others of folks who are pushing the limits of open source AI and have been able to make a lot of progress in creating a voice-to-visual engine that's taken us all around the world, put it in front of thousands of people. These images here are from all of the different events that we've not only had with Etheria, but that we've had in our individual experiences as artists working at the forefront of interactive art, and that's especially what Gonzo has been doing, so I'll pass the mic to him.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, like James said, we've been working at the forefront of interactive art, of immersive experiences for a while. We've been testing out a lot of different concepts, putting them in front of people, and I guess that's like the biggest takeaway. We've just been trying and trying and trying and trying. Try with these sound beds, try with fruits, try with music, try with robots, try with the floor, try with the walls. It's just been a lot of trial and error for the last like 10 years. And everything is just about that. I think it's just about putting yourself out there. Even like tonight, we're having technical difficulties, but it's like one step in the journey that we've been on. And James and I actually met at this church convent for technologists. I was creating these sound beds, and he was working on Etheria, and we thought that both of them together would be a really cool combination for the things that we can do in the future and how we can tell immersive stories.
And so we're at this like really crazy moment for creativity. Who feels the fast takeoff? Are you just shaking every day? It's totally crazy. Applaud if you feel like you're in the future. Oh my God, it's crazy. We are standing at the beginning of a crazy exponential, and this is impacting so many things. We're seeing in places like this all the time. One of the things beyond, automating our work and automating, the drudgery of email and marketing and so on is like every single part of our lives is being impacted. And as we've really traveled around showing our work, and we're going to do an interactive demo, and everybody will be able to play. I think first just talk about the journey that we've been on to be able to get here is that like live in-person experiences are absolutely going to be revolutionized by this fast takeoff. And so if you think about any part of your life, whether it's your entertainment, your education, whether it's how you get to work in the morning, every single part of life is being revolutionized by this takeoff. And so if you think about when Walt Disney in 1923, if you look at our business plan for Etheria, really it's a flywheel of being able to make really great stuff and show it to a lot of people and then teach other people how to make great stuff. It's inspired by the flywheel that Walt Disney made about entertainment and about being able to take eyeballs and convert those eyeballs into many different business lines. And so if you think about Disney as a technologist, what he would think. It really is the era of Imagineering in its truest form. If you can dream it, you can do it. Gonzo likes to talk about imagination at the speed of thought. That's totally where we are.
Yeah, I think for me, what's really special about this as a designer, one of the first things that I had to really understand was the illusion of life, which is how Disney animated all of these characters that we've all fallen in love with. So we try to apply that illusion of life to a lot of the work that we're doing right now. And like James said, we're at this point of takeoff where we're able to harness the last 100 years of creativity and really get on this rocket ship for what's about to come.
And so we have, in support of creating spatial environments, physical environments that respond to people, we have just sold the first version of the spatial imagination system to a space in Manhattan, and we'll walk through a little bit about what that means. But we wanted to think about how you take voice and then also motion and voice and motion especially, and combine them together to create a space that responds to you. And so this is kind of a systems diagram that goes from voice to transcripts to transformation by a language model, then to scope, which is powered by the Daydream team, to a run pod, which we just saw in the previous presentation. Processing then through an RTX 6000 Pro with a few different tools that we created in our stack, ultimately then to create a system that you can speak to and that responds to what you're doing. And so that's really the core of the spatial imagination system with Etheria. One really interesting piece is that it's powered at the edge by Jetson Nano GPUs. And so thinking about how right now world models that we see parallelizing 7 GPUs in the cloud as an example, ultimately will then be available on something that can run in your living room, and then eventually can maybe run at the edge. And so we're thinking about the compression of intelligence as something that also just speaks to the level of imagination that can exist in a space and how responsive a space can be to the people that are in it.
Yeah, so like James said, we're really trying to make all of this invisible. The whole goal is that technology should feel like superpowers. You shouldn't feel like you have to go and download this API or connect this to that. I mean, we do it on the back end, right? But really the whole magic happens when you just hand someone a mic and they speak, and then all of a sudden there's all these different things that are happening on the back end, but to them, they're just expressing themselves. They're just expressing a feeling, and we're basically trying to add a layer of abstraction that can kind of house this voice. And we've been able to build this system that not only runs on the cloud, but also runs in software and hardware. And not sure if James mentioned it, but the Jetson Nanos are computers that are like the size of a credit card. So they're tiny. And you can imagine that if we're going to be going now to install the permanent installation in someone's house, we need to have a reliable system, not just in the cloud, but also in the space. And then what happens when they ask for more displays? They want something upstairs, they want something downstairs, they want something outside. Do we have to run wires through the whole house? No, we're actually using the Jetson Nanos to connect through the network. So now we're eliminating all of this need for wires, need for all this like complicated communication, and we're able to think in that mind space where we're just saying, this is exactly what we need for this activation to work, and how do we build systems that basically just take care of that.
Why don't you just pull up Etheria? Yeah, so while we wait for that to load, I think what we're going to do now, maybe if you just want to restart that, we're going to do an interactive demo with Ethereum where you'll be able to take the image that's on the screen and transform it with your voice. And so, yeah, apologies for the technical problems here, but we'll have the demo running in just a second. Do you want to shrink that? All right. What does a caterpillar become when it stops being a caterpillar? Butterfly. All right. Do you think we could make this caterpillar a butterfly? Ah. We've made the caterpillar a butterfly. Maybe the butterfly needs to be more cartoonish. I think it needs to be like two-dimensional. We want a cartoonish, two-dimensional butterfly. The butterfly is a cartoon, and it's two-dimensional. All right. What's an insect that you like that's not a butterfly?
A bee.
All right, well, the butterfly is now becoming a bumblebee.
So something that you're seeing right now, the reason why we're using two different displays is because we're limited to the resolution that we're able to do with Ethereum. We can only go up to 420, 440, 840. So what we do is we introduce these shaders in the background that basically take a texture sample from the smaller image, and we're able to, right now you see it's all black. Oh, there we go.
And so the butterfly, the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. And this microphone is hooked up to this machine, it turns out. But then the butterfly becomes a bumblebee. You literally can't say anything to this without it not listening to you. And so the bumblebee is bright and yellow. And there we go. And the bumblebee is a cartoon. So we now have the bumblebee turning into a two-dimensional cartoon. And then it's joined by a teddy bear. And the teddy bear is wearing a hat. What do you think would be a great addition to the scene?
A unicorn.
All right, so it's joined by a unicorn. What kind of unicorn? The unicorn is a rainbow and white and, and apparently also a bumblebee. Maybe we'll switch courses. Maybe it's, I kind of want to just see this as a really, really two-dimensional line drawing.
That's right. Yeah, let's get back to the basics. What's the best city in the world? New York City. Let's see the New York City skyline with a bumblebee flying around the skyline. All right, should this bumblebee go to Central Park? All right, dear bumblebee, go to Central Park. Fantastic. What should the bumblebee see in Central Park? The bumblebee sees a squirrel in Central Park. And the squirrel is interested in maybe eating some nuts. But you know what happens to squirrels in Central Park is they get chased by golden retrievers. So the golden retriever is very goofy. It's chasing the squirrel. But all of a sudden, it's all interrupted by a psychedelic cat, and the face of the psychedelic cat zooms toward the screen. Who's from the furthest place around here? Raise your hand if you think you're from the furthest place of anybody here. Where are you from? We're from the Himalayas, so we go to the Himalayas. We're headed to the Himalayas. Please, sir, tell me about the Himalayas.
It's very cold, and there are apricot trees up on the highest mountains in the world.
There are apricot trees on the highest mountains in the world. What can you make with an apricot tree? So we want to see an apricot pie cooling on a ceiling of a mountain villa in the Himalayas. And there's a ghost as well, apparently. So we... oh, no. All right, there we go. The ghost now is serving the pie. The ghost of the grandma is serving the pie. And that ghost is too long for this world, so the ghost now... It looks like your grandma. There are spirits. Ghost is going to take us to space, where the ghost is going to be in a spacesuit floating through the deep space. All right. Who wants to take this in a completely different direction? Deep space is the inside of a human artery. All right, so we're headed into... And you know what else we might find in the inside of a human artery? Oh, where'd that come from? All right, in the inside of the human artery, which is also deep space, we find a koala bear that's walking down this artery. The koala bear waves to the people in the crowd. Just give us a wave, please. And the koala bear all of a sudden is dressed in cheetah print. The koala bear dressed in cheetah print. Where else should we go? I go to ancient Rome, but what's different about ancient Rome than what we might imagine? It's ancient Rome at night. We're still on the ghost theme, it turns out. So we're in ancient Rome at night, and it's a rave. At the Colosseum, there's a rave at the Colosseum, and all of the ravers are mice. and they're dancing like it's the end of the Roman Empire, which some say that it might be like that today. I don't know. As you can see, Etheria, who decided to show up for us today, give Etheria a hand for showing up for us. Uses this amazing technology to just respond to what you say. You know, we're working on a bunch of different things, including responding to how you move, responding to how you sing. We think about a future where a violinist might be able to sit inside of a concert hall and play a single violin part and have an entire audiovisual symphony appear right behind her. That the expressive power of a single individual can be amplified by 1,000x, so that any person with an idea, any person with a talent, any person who has anything to say isn't limited by their resources to say those things. And I think that's really where we are as a species. And so one of the things that, so this shader that's right behind Etheria, which is responding to the visuals here, I think right when we were about to start, Gonzo was talking about how we're still pretty limited at resolution. Shulong mentioned that this crowd, which it makes sense, would be really interested in knowing many of the technical constraints. One of them is that we're running a single B300 GPU in the cloud to get to a resolution of 832 by 480, which is like, it's pretty small, right? Yet, this is super responsive at even at that resolution. I don't know if anybody saw the news that Runway and NVIDIA on the Vera Rubin chips have been able to get time to first pixel to like 100 milliseconds last week. And so we're seeing a world where just instantly, speed of thought, I want to say something, I want to think something, it's there. And so this shader, Gonzo designed in ShaderClaw, which is a tool that he made. And I want, Gonzo, why don't you talk a little bit about ShaderClaw and how it supports what we're doing with Ethereum?
Yeah, so I come from a background of doing large-scale visuals, and one of my first like bottlenecks with working with Etheria was the resolution. I was like, we can't use this at a concert where there's like 50,000 people. We can't use this for production yet, for music video, for an artist who's paying a lot of money. So we were trying to figure out how we can get away with amplifying what's happening in Etheria. And with the explosion of technology nowadays, if any of you guys are using Claude Code or any of these tools, they're able to create animations made out of code. So what we're doing is we're creating a tool called ShaderClaw. It's open source, and basically we allow people to start their shaders inside of Claude. They bring them into our tool, and our most important, like our biggest takeaway is that we want them to make these shaders interactive. So we make them interactive by voice. We make them interactive by cameras, by movements. We use media pipelines so people can just, not have to have mocap suits or things like that. They can just use their webcams and they can start controlling these. And yeah, most importantly, it allows us to scale to any size. We can now support these big concerts. We can now support permanent installations. And these are some of the design challenges that we've had to navigate. Another really interesting design challenge is like, as you can see, this is it could be like a never-ending tool. So where do we put the guardrails? Where do we, like if we're giving this to kids today are just consuming content all day. They're just consuming. And it's very hard for us to now say, why don't you go create something? They can't just go and get on Adobe After Effects or Unreal Engine and start busting out these like stories or games. Some of them are starting to do it, but we feel like this is a really easy barrier to entry. Voice is such a low barrier to entry for anybody to try this technology, and that's kind of like our goal. Our goal is to break down all these barriers that are complicated. All these tools are going inward right now, and we want to go outward. And like James said, we just finally today signed with our new collector, who is going to have a permanent installation in his house forever. And it's not a big win for us. It's a big win for the whole community, because now we prove that this is the future. This is like possible, that someone wants this 24/7 in their house. And that's kind of like the system that we showed you guys earlier. So mainly we wanted to show you guys that there is a way, and you can build these tools. Everything that you saw here today was built completely by us. There was no Resolume, there was no MadMapper, Synesthesia, or anything. Like, we build our own tools because we've been testing and testing and testing, and now we understand what we need. We understand how we can help kids. We understand how we can help patients who need to practice how to speak again. So they just need to sit in front of something and just talk to it all day without the thing being boring or anything like that. So it's a huge win for the community, what we've been able to do, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys.
I'd love to take questions.
Yeah, if you guys have questions. Or we can just put up the mic and you guys can come talk to Etheria.
What video model are you using to generate the sequences?
Yeah, so this is using LongLive, which is kind of a live version of WAN 2.1. The team at Daydream has done a huge service to the community with Scope, which is their open source harness for real-time video models, to make this really easy to use. And so, yeah, it's LongLive itself was developed by NVIDIA, which came out in a research paper in September.
Gotcha. And what you showed earlier with the run pod and the GPU you launched, that's what's running right now?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like we're starting to realize this. You touched on it a little bit with your talk, but if you really want to push these models and you really want to get this like low latency, you can't just do it off of a laptop. And we're going to start realizing that one of the next bottlenecks is going to be compute. Like, how do we access all this compute super easily? So that's why our system is like hybrid. We have an RTX 6000, and then the cloud compute, and then plus we have the little Jetson Nanos. So those are like the three ways that we're building this whole system around.
Thank you guys for the demo, guys. That was super cool, especially to watch it change behind you as you were giving your speech at the end. My question is around style and sort of kind of just what are the other parameters you've kind of put on the model as it works. So obviously the demo today was much about, like, you know, kind of out of the box thinking, right? Raves in ancient Rome. Like, is there an ability to confine it to particular styles, confine it to a particular type of world, confine it to different visual elements? How does the kind of modification there work?
Yeah, 100%. I touched a little bit on the illusion of life, which is a book on how animations were made. And if you look into it, there's 12 principles of animation. And those 12 principles of animations are in our prompt on what a good composition should be like. So we're basically saying, hey, we need to have a scene. We need to have a protagonist. We need to have movement, exaggeration. We need to have VFX. We need to have dramatic lighting. So we're trying to come up with all these things that could essentially make a good composition. And that's where we are right now. And it's like such a delicate line of supporting what you're saying versus dictating what you're saying. A fun gold nugget that we found was that sometimes you're telling these stories and the visuals wouldn't really match. Sometimes they were generating people, so we just like took people out. We were like, no people. And that in itself already solves for a ton of problems that we would normally have when just the mic is hot at a party or something like that, and someone just comes and says something inappropriate, or calls a celebrity or something like that. But there's still a lot of I think that's where all of our design challenges are right now. James can touch on that as well.
Yeah, so like if I say, hey, can you make like just a really reduced like image of a lily? So I want to see a visual of a lily, and I want it to be like really, really reduced. And I want you to, yeah, reduce it even more, please. Just so there's all of these ways just through the navigation of the tool itself that we can navigate through the space and kind of restrain in the like moment. Then we can take those rules. We have something called style tags. We actually don't have any of them applied right now, but you can just like you can, you know, in Midjourney or any other image generator, you can like really hone in on the style that you want. You can do that here as well. We're doing a show for an artist in a week and a half, where we're gonna do fine-tune Laura on her work, and so everything in that show will be completely in the style of her own work, which is really exciting. And so I think it's both as a canvas, right? As Gonzo is a much more experienced artist than I am, as he reminds me, is like all of the art, like the difficulty is in the restraint, right? And so being able to find a way to point this thing and to, we also just did a show for a hotel chain recently where we were really restricting just to the iconography of the cities that they were in and the types of things. So if we, just thinking about everything through the lens of Phoenix, Arizona as an example, what does it look like for everything to be through the lens of Phoenix? So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to be very creative within a very specific set of constraints.
Hi guys. I wanted to ask, so I notice sometimes it's gradually morphing into new images from what you're prompting it, but other times it's cutting to a new scene. So what dictates the cut versus the morph?
That's a great question. We have, so one of the most important parts of the system is how the language model that sits between the transcription and the ultimate image prompt, the video prompt, processes the transcriptions. That's sort of at the heart of how style tags worked, as I just described. So the style tags are not necessarily just telling the video model, here's the way that you should describe this. It's telling the language model what story to tell. And so one of the tools that we give the language model is the ability to empty the key value cache of the video model. And the instructions that the language model is given is to act like a director and to know when to say cut. And so that's something I think that's still very much work in progress. Gonzo is showing you the interface as it exists right now. The language model that we're using Quen on Cerebrus, which is super fast. It's 1,000 tokens a second. We started with Claude, and we actually exhibited this at Anthropic headquarters a little over a year ago in a much different form when it was stream diffusion using Lyle's notebook. So it's been like really a big evolution. But yeah, the sort of when to cut, and when to morph, I think is definitely a work in progress and something that I think will continue to be a challenge.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. You answered it great.
How big is the context for your reasoning model?
We keep the context really lean. And so we don't, I think when we first started, we used sort of like multi-turn, like a typical sort of multi-turn chat. And that gets polluted really quickly, and it also just gets into loops. And so what we did instead was we put the last 3 prompts in context, and then we put like a trailing transcript. And then we use like in the prompt just like timestamps where it's like, hey, this just happened, pay attention to this. And then we also trigger on mostly punctuation from the transcription model, although there's some nuances there. We've been working on a prototype with a real-time voice model that can call those tools itself. I haven't really seen anything super great there. One of the challenges with this, even though it's like super real time, is that like it's not meant to talk back to you, and there really aren't any real-time voice models that like are optimized for that. And so you kind of have to swim upstream with their training.
There is a really, really fun prototype that we did where it does speak back to you. So you could just say, hey, tell me about the Little Red Riding Hood. And it'll start telling you the story, and you can say, keep going, or change the villain, or like James said, just reduce this into the most simplest form possible. So we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible with your voice, and we want to make that as natural as possible, I think.
I have a question about the kinds of models that you use. So you mentioned you use Long Live. Are there models that you're looking forward to in the future that you might integrate into this, and how do you evaluate whether it's a good choice?
James can...
Yeah, look, it's a really exciting time for world models. It's, you know, I mentioned the sort of runway news with NVIDIA last week. I can't wait to get my hands on that. You know, I think there's a couple open source like Chinese models. There's one called Lingbot, which is not quite, I think the real-time version is not quite out. And so I think, you know, Long Live has been really a great way, as somebody who started doing this with stream diffusion, to see kind of what the future will be. As you can see, this is still pretty rough, right? It's beautiful and it's interesting, but as Gonzo was talking about, right, we're like fighting with like low dimensionality. We're like, you know, it's still kind of not, like sometimes it's following our instructions, other times it isn't. Yet the thing is that, you know, when we put this in front of thousands of people, it's just, you know, this is something that reliably gets people to talk to it for like 30 minutes or something. And so when you think about really like where we expect world models to have product market fit, which I think, you know, I think kind of two places that come up immediately are gaming, and then, you know, robotics and sort of reinforcement learning for robotics. And I think we're kind of starting to say, okay, like I think that as world models come to market, and as you have these sort of very, very infinite canvases that are very responsive to all the inputs that you put into them, you know, people are really just going to want to talk to them a lot. I think that's really the sort of insight that's coming out. And so I'm really excited as the state of the art continues to advance, that really the key thing I think that we validated so far is that it's a great experience to talk to them, and that the quality and the depth of that interaction continues to become more interesting.
Last thing on that is like we can't wait till these models become local, because all these installations, like it's very hard to sell a permanent art installation when you have to constantly think in the back of your head, how are we going to be able to support this with compute? How are we going to support this when the models change? Which model do we stick to? Like you could probably find a model that's really nice and just have this model be trained on starfishes, and that's what it is, and that's what you get. But I think we've made a commitment to stay at the forefront and continue to push all these models to see what we can learn. And they definitely have biases and things like that we're trying to navigate. But I think overall they're all really, really exciting. We also mess a lot with voice, with text. So I think combining all these elements together is really the sweet spot.
Where can we keep up with the progress of this project?
So we're with Etherea.com, WITHETHEREA.com. We have a pretty active YouTube channel, trying to get more active on the rest of social media. you can email me at james@generalsemantics.nyc, which is the name of our company. So it's james@generalsemantics.nyc, and there's Gonzalo@generalsemantics.nyc. That are 2 email addresses. We're also, if you follow us on the internet, we, I think, are just spending a lot more time publicly showing things around New York City. So yeah, come see us after, and then I think we'll stick around also a little bit after here if anybody wants to play with it a little bit.
Cool, thank you. Let's give a huge thank you to James and Gonzalo. What an incredible demo. Also, shout out to Eric and Yandin from Daydream team for creating some of the technology that was used.
Yeah, thank you guys. It would be impossible without you guys. Thank you. Show me Pikachu surfing.
We have a quick announcement from Eric that I'm just going to plug in the HDMI for. But in the meantime, after the events we're going to wrap soon, we'll hang out for a little bit, and then we will move. Anyone who wants to continue hanging out can go to Three's Brewery, which is around the corner. And this installation will be up for a little bit longer. Whoops. But in the meantime, I think Eric has a quick shout out for a workshop that he's putting on as part of Daydream. So if you just hang tight. I don't think so. No. Doesn't seem to be connecting. There we go. We see it.
Yeah.
You might need to. Okay.
Okay, cool. So that was so awesome. Thank you. So James and Gonzo build Etheria, and as we're building it, we started hosting these groups, these like build groups. We've been calling them different things. Artist in residence programs is the new term that we're calling it. So they've been involved for like at least 2 of these programs. So we bring technologists together, and these are like, think of them as like nights and weekends, like build-a-thon type of groups. So here's an example. Scott Mann, he's an installation artist. He built this, different installation using scope and this is actually also long live. So yeah, if you're interested in participating in a program like this, the next one is coming up in a couple weeks. This one is going to be a 4-week program, and we'll work towards like a live show or a live installation that you can put into the public. It's free. Anyone can participate. If you're interested, just scan the QR code, sign up. Thanks.
All right, I think that marks the conclusion of our event tonight. Thank you so much to everyone for coming and for being patient. And we'll hang out for a little bit. We'll have the installation up. You can come and interact. Yeah, we'll see you at the next one. If you want to follow our events at ZeroSpace, it's luma.com/ZeroSpace. All right, have a good night.